Hi everybody, and welcome to the August forecast. I'm Benita Hutchison, your psychic life and business coach. We're going to start by pulling a card for the month of August. Okay, and the card we have is the Stitch Queen. We'll see how she plays out in the forecast for this month. Die here. I'm expecting the new version to come in the next month or two, so I'm super excited about that because, as you know, love working with this set. It's just so multifaceted. Okay, well, looks like we only got one off the mat and several hovering around the core. Whoa, a lot in Fated, a few in the past, a few in the present, got a lot happening in the near future, so this should prove very interesting. All right, and we do have our Chaos dice. It's showing up under Inevitable, and the face that we have on it, it's kind of hard to see what that is, but we will look it up. And it is the Mirrored Raven. It waits until you've read the quarter it landed in, then it asks you to re-roll the dice in this quarter. Okay. Well, that's going to be very, very interesting. What has changed? Is this a new path or important advice? That's yours to understand. All right. So that's going to be interesting because Inevitable, where it landed, excuse me, where it landed is just shy of the line for Fated. And we have one that's sitting right on the Fated line. So we're going to include that. And so that's a whole bunch of die that are going to get re-rolled. It's going to be a very interesting reading. All right, and of course we want to go to the Fate die to see if it changes anything on here. And it is showing up as Chance under Fated. So that's what the face looks like. And it says this is the Wheel of the Tarot in a very literal sense, the Wheel of Fortune. Depicts the activity of chaos, fate, randomness, and an unknowable complexity. When it comes up in a reading, it can be assumed as a wild card or random element thrown into the mix, something that cannot be easily predicted, but that might show different options by way of different paths to be taken within the reading. So it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more of a complex reading than we've seen before. So that's going to be very interesting. So let's go right back to our actions die. And it's showing up. Where are you? Or did you leave the mat? Should be here. Okay. It's showing up in the past as a little guy with a sword going through him. So it's called Sacrifice. Sacrifice in most cases should speak to giving something up that we don't want to, typically for the better. The most important aspect of the sacrifice is that it's intentional. It's not an accidental loss. So think of something or someone or a situation that you gave up in the past in order to move forward. That's what it's indicative of. We know that one's not going to change going forward. So that's interesting that the Chaos die showing the Raven, the Mirrored Raven, shows up under Inevitable in the future. And there's a whole lot of die that are going to be involved. So here we go. Okay. Now our Alchemist die is Tin, and it shows up under Fated. It's one of the dice that's going to change its face. So we'll put that back where it was, and it's with a whole bunch of other die. It's the wise person's metal, something that brings out the strength in other things. Now, it's clustered with a whole bunch of dice, so it says it has the most clarity when it's found paired with another die or in a triangle. So if it's at the top of the triangle, it speaks to two things happily merged. Well, in this case, it's at the bottom. It speaks of unbalanced things that should be brought back together. So we're going to see how that plays out. And our ally die is showing up as paired hands, these hands that are clasped under future. And it's about community. And we've seen that come up a lot this year. Community really being so much about what's going to help us to get through a lot of the issues that we're seeing these days. And it says when it comes up in a reading, it speaks to this, the need for being upheld by others and the need to do the same for them. So it's coming up just after present. So whatever's going on currently, the near future, your community is going to play a part in how we move forward, or how you move forward in your experience. Now, the attentions die is showing up where? Okay, it is showing up under beyond, and the word written on it is neon. It's showing up way over here. You can't even see where it is. It's over here under beyond. And it says these are the attention seekers. Neon is an attention hog. It draws your eye. It offers little in return other than being lovely to behold. In a reading, it tells you something glitzy or glamorous to distract you from understanding. So here's how I read that. Because it's showing up under beyond, it's saying stay present for what's coming in August. Don't get distracted by, well, maybe it'll be better when, or some promise of things to improve in some way, or that you're going to overcome something in some way. It's saying stay present, stay focused, deal with the here and now. Don't focus on what might be someday. Our autumn die is showing up as, where are you, autumn die? As the wagon. And the wagon is just bordering the past and the present. So it shows up as a little old-fashioned wagon. And it says you've ended a long process. It's time to see what you've made. So the way I read it here is you had to sacrifice something from the past in order to move forward. And now it's about looking at how that sacrifice has helped you come into the present. In other words, rather than rue what has been, it's looking at, so what's been accomplished as a result, and can I appreciate, that journey that I've taken, the struggle I've taken, and where it's landed me. We've done the chaos die, we can skip that. Elements die is showing up under the present, so that's the elements die, and it is showing up as, looks like that's water, yeah. In a reading, water speaks to moving with the world around you. No matter how water is contained, shaped, moved, it's still water. So going along with what happens does not mean you are now those happenings. In other words, see where they take you. So it's interesting that we've sacrificed something in the past. It's helped us to set the foundations for where we're going now. And now it's saying, see where it takes you rather than at the moment trying to control the direction that you're going. So for example, if some door is closing, rather than go, well, I wish that wasn't happening, that shouldn't be happening. Instead, it's about going, okay, there is a purpose to that. Now, where am I going to be taken next? It's not completely passive. We still have to be active in our lives, but it's about looking for the openings and stepping into them rather than deciding it should be this, and I'm going to slam down a wall to try to get it to be that. Okay. So our goblin die is showing up under future, and it's the cute little guy with the moon over his head, and it's about obsession. it talks about an unabashed inability to escape a thought or concept, an impossible drive and need for something that you cannot stop desiring. Might be an inability to sleep until you can write an idea down, things like that. So it's saying in the near future, there's going to be something that you're just going to feel really driven to do something about. So the Stitch Queen now comes up, and she explicitly points to someone in power over the situation who demands loyalty, who believes they control or should control the current situation. So whether that is you, or that is somebody in your life, or a situation in which you feel somebody wants control, that's a factor that's playing a part in this whole situation, which is why it's very interesting that, and it could be that, in this situation, because we're being told go with the flow, it's saying this isn't a time to try to establish that control, more of see where things take you and wait for that moment where you're shown, now you have to do something about that. So when we look for the influences die, we find a smile right on the border of future and fated. And it says it's people trying their best, even if what they give you is useless. So it's good intentions that don't actually help. So in the future, we may have good intentions. Remember, the other one that's influencing that as well is this obsession. We may feel compelled to do something, and it might not actually yield help, or we might have somebody saying, I'll help you, and it doesn't actually get you where you need to go. All right, the kindness die is showing up under fated. So that's interesting because that's going to change, and it shows a stitch. And it says it speaks to the need for mending, or the reminder that things have been mended, and perhaps even who did it. It's not to say that things are owed, but merely that care and attention was had, and a reminder of that person's care for you, or vice versa, may be important. When it shows up with other things, which it does here, remember we have the one that talks about the strength, the determination, and saying if it's at the bottom, right, that's a factor there. It says it may show what the wound is and how to heal it based on the dice around it, but mark that the die on its own speaks for itself. So in this case, it may very, very much be more of a some vulnerability there, having been cared for or needing to care for somebody. So we'll see how that's going to play out. There might be somebody in your life that requires care, or that has required care, and that's taken some of your energy. It's fated, and let's face it, in the end, we're all going to need somebody to care for us, and we're all going to need to care for somebody who can't manage on their own anymore. Our longings die shows up in the past, and it's this I. And it says seen. It's the desire to be witnessed, to be seen. It's desire to be seen while doing something. So it's like, look at me. Interesting, it shows up in the past, which suggests that because there's a sacrifice here as well, we're having to sacrifice ego. We're having to sacrifice the desire to be given attention, validation. It's let go of all that, because now it's about moving forward. And in the present, more observing, where am I supposed to go? Not the ego going, I think I should have this. I think I should get to do that. It's more about what is my path rather than what would I like it to be. And if we do trust our path, ultimately it's going to take us somewhere beyond what we might have imagined for ourselves. So under the major die, we have order. And it's interesting that the order shows up in the core. And order sometimes wants order in a reading. See the group it's in as a unique, distinct grouping from the other dice. So it's interesting that it shows up distinctly from all the other dice except for these two that form the triangle that makes the core. So we're going to see how that plays out. The Mariner's die is also in the core. And this particular one is the gull. It's a little gull that's flying there. And it says, when the gull finds itself in the core of a reading, it speaks to something big, in motion with the self. And remember, the card here says it's a situation where somebody has control, somebody has control that we don't have in this situation. An identity change or an identity growth. In either case, the querent, the person getting the reading, us, is in flight with themselves or on the cusp of it, needing some space or time or fight to push into it. The reading itself will characterize what being themselves so strongly has done to their lives, relationships, and otherwise. It's not always good or bad. Sometimes it's a bit of both. And because it's showing up with these other elements, it's heavily affected by its placement in the reading on whether it's a positive or negative in life. So in this case, we've only got the 2 so far. So it's interesting that it's saying something is big in motion with itself, and we're seeing there's order here. It's going to be very interesting to see how this dice informs that conversation, because it very much feels as though something is coming our way this month we're not going to have control over, and we're not to use our egos to try to establish control, but to move with it. Now, when we look at the future, we have, in this case, this is a really, really hard one to see for the Metamorphosis die. It's called eclosion, which is when the butterfly is coming out of the chrysalis. And so it says, eclosion is that moment after the long change, the transmutation of self. You're now in a new place, a new state of being, and the world can see what you've done. Remember that even if you've labored long on this is the first time for anyone else to see it. You've become something new. Very interesting. It shows up in the future. We know it's connected to community. And, you know, we got the Goblin die in there as well doing its thing. I just want to refresh my memory on what the Goblin was doing. Oh yes, it's obsession with an idea. So there's obsession with an idea. We may have ourselves or people around us trying to help out in ways that may or may not work for us. We have the eclosion saying this is bringing about something new. So even if we don't fully understand all the elements and how they come to play, there's a change that's coming with all of this. Our obstacles die. Where's that showing up? I wonder if that, oh, no, I think that one left the mat. I do not see it here. All right, so it has wandered off somewhere. We'll continue. The relations die shows up in that triangle, and it shows 2 people standing slightly apart from each other. And that's what it is. It's called apart. So when it shows up in a triangle like that, it says, okay, it's not paired with any of those die. It can relate to sudden revelations, sudden changes in life situations. Apart tends to be more of a negative face. So when we go back to the kindness die, and it talks about wounds, it suggests with these 3 that there's some kind of wound occurring here. That one of the things that is fated is a situation where there's perhaps even an abrupt change, a real surprise that's not necessarily a pleasant one for us. So that's coming our way, yay. And don't forget, these die are going to be, you know, shaken up again. We're going to drop them again. So we're going to get some advice on how to deal with this situation that's not necessarily a pleasant one for us to encounter. Now, the Jester is the other dice showing up here under the core. And this says the situation is likely a new one that's not been tread before. So it says we'll need all the advice and outside perspective on the topic we can get, even if some of it ends up being wrong. It says the more that someone can know about something, the more they can work through to find out what is right. So it says when it shows up, so it says it rises just above another die or even at the top of a triangle. It's worn by the dice below it. Well, in this case, it is below. So it's saying what elements wears the hat. So in this case, the hat is leaning more towards order, saying the order is running the show. So this is basically saying, even if we have to encounter something really difficult, really challenging, it's trusting the path, that this is all happening for a reason, even if we don't fully understand it right now. One of the fated die, so we have another eye. It's called null. So it's an empty space. It says this reading means what it means. There's no hidden context. So in other words, it's saying, take it for what it is. We have a difficult situation coming up, but there is growth here. Remember, we're letting go of ego so that we can go on this journey, see what we've built, take all that we've learned, flow with it into a situation that's going to involve community, an idea that we just feel like we have to do something about. And it's going to turn us into someone new. It's going to bring out an aspect of ourselves we haven't gotten to experience before. So that's powerful. Our summer die, interestingly enough, shows up snugged up to that triangle, and it's the gain die. So it says, often pairs with other dice shows who's earning and who's paying. Which hand is which is yours to determine. So in this case, because of the way those die showed up, it seems to me there's a cost to us, some kind of difficult situation we're going to encounter, and it's going to come out of left field. It's not something we're going to expect. When we look at the winter die, it's showing up under the future, kind of off in momentum a little bit more. And, oh, there's one of the die that we missed. Okay, so the winter die shows the moons, and it says it's sometimes this can mean, okay, let me go back over this, sorry. It often speaks of illusions, things we think are happening or we think are in a certain way are actually not happening, or actually being totally different. So we've got this obsessed idea. It's also under momentum. And one that I missed that I'm now seeing, the obstacles die, is the one that has the rose, which is peace. So it's showing up under momentum. And it says sometimes we get what we want, we stem the tide of opposition, we stop the conflict, and we get peace. Then what? Sometimes the hardest part is no longer having a clear foe. Why do you fight when there's no one left on the other side? So peace is a strange obstacle. You're geared up for battles, you were ready to fight, but when the work now is different, when it's building up and sustaining, not just battling, we sometimes lose our way. So this is very interesting when we look at all of this. It's saying there's community effort involved here. It's about creating something peaceful and sustainable when we've been used to fighting battles all along for the last while. We might get stuck on an idea and that we feel we have to present, but the illusion comes up here. So it's as if it's saying under momentum, don't go off on a tangent. Don't get stuck on the wrong idea here. That could be wasted energy. You are going to emerge different from this scenario. Just make sure you're keeping a balanced perspective as you go. So now that we've done all of that, we're going to take all these die in this section and shuffle them and drop them again. Oh, interesting. One went into the core. So we'll just go through from the first one and we'll see what the advice is that we're getting. So now we have iron, and it speaks to the solidity and defense coming from a person. It can defend and attack on behalf of someone, but it can also come from you. It's a very human defense, physical and protective. So we'll see how that's playing out with the other die, because it is heavily influenced by the die that are around it. Okay, the attentions die is now the lighthouse. Well, it's called a lantern, so that shows up right here. And it says the lantern can be personal but familiar. It's something that's illuminating, and groups can travel together with just one lantern. In readings, this is how the lantern acts. It's meant for a group of people on a journey together. So it's interesting. It's saying in these changes that are coming, don't be an island unto yourself. Ask for support from the people around you so that you continue to, whatever's changing here, whatever's evolving, you have support for that evolution. So work with that. Okay, we get to skip the chaos die because here it is creating chaos. And the fate die this time, it shows up as a good omen of things to come. So in other words, it's saying, yes, this is going to be a challenging situation. It doesn't mean the end of all things. It just means saying you will recover from it. Good things will come out. Part of this is remembering, because it's showing up under fated and not future, that one thing that is consistent in our world is change. Change is always going to happen. So even if you're dealing with something really hard, there's going to be good times too. There are going to be ways that it's going to be better. All right. Move on. So the influences die, interestingly, it comes up with the same face we had before, the smile. And again, it's about people trying their best, even if what they give you is useless. And it's interesting because it's forming its own little triangle here. So we're going to see what that means. But it's saying, again, it's people with the best of intentions, which sometimes requires on our part a little patience. Now, the kindness one is changed to a little rubber ball, and it's forming a triangle with the smile that we just got. So it points to the necessity of play. And so it says, it's okay to have fun. So with these people coming in to help, keep your sense of humor, have fun. In other words, don't take life too seriously. Remember, we have many lives, many experiences. We can really get stuck in a situation, or we can roll with it and say, better days are coming and I'm not alone in this. I have support. I think that's a really important thing for us to remember. Okay. Let's see what other die we're going to get to here. So the relations die, this time that one decided it's the together die, and it decided to jump into the core. So it says when together ends up in the core of a reading, it means the reading as a whole will relate to a group of people, or at least not just one person. It's about a group dynamic or a relationship between two or more people. So that's an interesting thing. It's saying, probably other people in your life will be affected by the situation. So you're not alone in this. And you've even been told by the die here, do not isolate yourself. And the suits die shows up. That this time has turned into cups. And it says anything can fill the cup. And so when we look at it here, what's interesting is the good fortune dice is filling the cup. So when we look at how, if we go back to the alchemy die, and this one said it speaks to the solidity and defense coming from somebody. The fact that it shows up with good fortune and with the cup, it's saying you're not going to be helpless in this situation. You're either going to be able to speak up for yourself. Don't forget, in the future, you go through a big change as a result of all of this. You may find yourself in a better position to be able to speak for yourself. And you may have the support of your community to help with that too. So that's a pretty powerful thing. And the one other dice that we have left is the summer die. And it's in the triangle with the one about good intentions and having fun. And it says it's a time to live in joy and happiness. So, wow. This is really interesting. We're getting told, go with the flow of things right now. There is an order here that you do not have control over. It's affecting a lot of people. There's going to be changes. Try not to get pulled off course with ideas that you feel like you have to perpetuate and do things with that may not serve you. Trust this is going to change you, but that's why we're here. We're here to grow and change. We're here to wake up. That's not about safely and comfortably arriving at our graves. It's about growing. If you're the same person you were 20 years ago, you essentially wasted 20 years of your life. And we change because things around us trigger those changes. So try to just move with this, see where it takes you. Understand that there's likely to be a situation that's going to really throw you for a loop. Might be very hard, maybe very hurtful. But ultimately it's saying good luck is coming your way. Strength is there. And people around you who have the best of intentions. And there's a lot of joy and a lot of fun in interacting with them. So it's saying, don't let the situation take you down. This is about letting the ego go to flow with the path, go through the hard stuff, knowing that what's coming after that is something really positive. So don't get bogged down in this. I hope that helps you. If there's anything going on in your life, anything that comes up for you that you would like some support with, I'm here for you. And just so folks know, I'm finding most people rather work online with me in the comfort of their own home than work with me at my office. So I'm letting my office go at the end of September. That September 30th will be my last day at the office. If you would like to meet me at the office, this is the time to book me. After that, if you are in the area and you really prefer to work with me directly, we'll figure something out, whether I'm making a house call or what have you. I do want people to feel they're in a good environment to work with me. I've just simply found most of you prefer to be sitting at home, and maybe it's because you get a video of the session afterwards. You get to see the card spreads. You don't have to just have a recording on your phone. That might be the chief factor, but there we have it. So I look forward to seeing all of you, and I hope you have an awesome August. And if there are challenges, I hope you're able just to move through them, learn what you need to learn from them, and keep your perspective. And again, I'm here for you if you need me. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.